These are triangular shaped cutting tools, I believe. I don't know much about the parts, but I know that the requirement is to be able to inspect them in the holding pallet in any orientation. As you can see here, the machine is moving around inspecting the parts. Each individual part is laid into the pallet. No particular orientation is set on the parts. Now, because the parts are not only orientated differently, the locations are slightly different also. So for each part I'm using a pattern finder tool in the software to locate one of the corners of a triangle. Once that corner has been found, I measure that triangle very close to the edge and determine the angle. This is why you see the machine currently moving around in a circular motion. It is the pattern finder tool looking for the bottom left hand angle or the bottom left hand corner of each individual part. And it's using this as an approximate guide for initial location prior to datuming. Now the machine is moving to the second row in the y-axis, and we're going to inspect the second row of 5 parts. While the machine is measuring the second row of 5 parts, I want to talk a little about the touch probe that you can see hanging down there. This machine, this particular Falcon CNC, is equipped with a touch trigger probe for height measurements, to do height measurements of features that we cannot pick up with video, or for the inspection of features which cannot be picked up with video. Needless to say, your parts don't require a touch probe, so it's just hanging there doing nothing. We're measuring the last part now, and the last part is completed. Now I'd like to take you over to the software, and we'll have a look at the QC5000 software. The first window I want to talk about is the results window. This is where the features that are measured are displayed. The next window over is the part view window. Beneath the part view window is the video window. Moving over is my light control window. And moving over one more to my program window. In my program window I have steps. These are the initial settings. These are the initial settings of the system before when I started programming. Then you can see the 0 using the pattern finder. We use the pattern finder here to find one of the corners of a part. Then we have the registration complete command. Then we actually measure a line, a skew line, to datum the part. After that, we recreate the 0 point. Then we measure a second line on the opposite side of an angle. And after we measured that, we reconstruct the angle between the two lines we just previously measured. Then we use if statements to determine what the angle size is. And that tells me whether it's a 45-degree angle or a 90-degree angle. Depending on which angle I've just measured is going to depend on which routine I'm going to run next to pick up the remainder of the part. Now the rest of the program here is doing the actual measurements of the sides of the part, the accurate measurements, constructing the intersection points between each of the lines, and then at the very end of the program I'm actually creating the results, constructing the results. I'm constructing the angle measurements, or actually the distance measurements first, then the angle measurements afterwards. I'm going to run the program now by pressing New Run, and we go off with a pattern finder looking for the corner of the first part in palette location number 1. Notice I take 3 very small angle measurements in each corner. That pretty much identifies the part and the initial alignment. Here the green square and red circle is my pattern finder tool. The pattern finder is currently set at a very low tolerance, so I can it will distinguish between a 45 and a 90-degree angle. And there we go, we picked it up, we measured the angles there, and now we're doing the actual measurement of a part now the datum is established and the report is generated. Pattern finder again, hunting for the part, there it is, it's found it, and we're measuring the angles, each of the 3 angles very small, then we're doing the long measurements. The long measurements are the ones which are reported out on the report. Pattern finder again, and it'll snap to it on the next run. There we go, snaps to it, and small angle measurement, another small angle measurement, another small angle measurement, and now we've got the part datumed and we're doing the long measurements. On the long measurements we're finding the length of each side of the triangle, each of the 3 sides, and each of the 3 angles. We're measuring the 2 45-degree angles and the 90-degree right angle. Found the part again. And that one's measured. Now we're going off to location number 6. We moved up in the y-axis. Found the part, measuring it. What we do is determine what that first angle is, whether it's a 45 or a 90-degree angle. Then then in the program I determine what the second angle is, whether it's a 45 or a 90-degree. From that information I know the orientation of a part by using the if statements in the program. This time we're going to pick up on the 90-degree angle. Now that's the previous part there which just came into view. Next pass it will pick it up. There's a previous part again. And we found the 90-degree angle. Took some rough points there, some more quick points to find out where the part is. Now it's datumed up. We actually redatum it when we do the long measurements. And now we're off onto the, I'm not sure, I think this is either the 9th or 10th part. Oh, that was the 9th part. We're now looking for the 10th part. Yep, found the 10th part. Measuring it. And the program's complete. Now we'll have a look at the machine view and the software window view. I've zoomed out on the machine, but you can still see the machine moving. You can see the touch probe there. Where I have the program view in the software, that's now the report view. I'm now displaying the report, and as each part is finished, you'll see the results flash up there real quickly. The results can be saved out to a printer, or sent out to a printer, or saved out to a file, or sent to an SPC database. Okay, we've got the pattern finder up again, and found the part, and now we're measuring the small, doing the small angle measurements. Then the large, then we're measuring the large angles again. This part here is fairly out of location, so we're doing a lot of hunting for the parts. Oh, found it, and there we are, off measuring it. Moving over to the next part. The part is above the video window, but we found the part here, and we're measuring it again. Just as a reminder, we're not only adjusting here for the orientation of the parts, but we also we're also looking for location as well. So we're physically hunting for the part. Once we found the corner, we're actually of the part, then we're looking at or looking for orientation. This is part number 7, I believe. Now we're moving on to part number 8. Now part number 8 is almost vertical with a right angle at the bottom. And we'll find the right angle on the next pass. And here we'll find the right angle and measure it. And we actually do the final measurements of the part. Part number 9. And we'll move on to part number 10. Found the part, measuring it. There's the results and the end of the program.